Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the show. Chuck Chow on East West with G&E TV. We all know that we are next door to Hollywood, but chances are very rare that we get inside of the Hollywood to see exactly what's going on there, what's being made, what's cooking, what's about to finish cooking. So today joining me is my good friend, old friend. I'm not saying he looks old. I'm saying that he is, by sonority, he is his old friend, Mr. Chris Nebe. Welcome to the show, Chris.
谢谢你，老朋友，谢谢你。
All right, good. You're perfect Chinese. Speak perfect Chinese already. All right. And Mr. Chris Nebe is a independent filmmaker. I call him a director, producer, and writer combined. Right, you're almost everything, right?
Have to do.
Yeah, you have to do. And previously, in several other times, during several other occasions, we had him here talking about his Mysterious China here series. It has the true story of Tibet, right?
Diaoyu Island.
The Diaoyu Island, the Burma Road.
Road
to Burma.
And then Tibet the Truth and Diaoyu Islands the Truth are already finished and are already available in China on the internet here.
Why don't I give you the opportunity of letting my audience know the whole series about Mysterious China, including the part in the cooking or the part in the thinking even, please.
We have now finished 12 films. The last one was Diaoyu Islands, The Truth, which made me actually quite famous in China because it was, and it's also now submitted to the Chinese American Film Festival, the upcoming film festival in October, I think.
I see, in November.
And in November.
November, yes, November 4th.
November 4th, so that's in 2 months.
The inauguration is November the 4th, yeah.
So, and now we are in post-production of 3 more films which we filmed this summer. One of them is called Burma Road Flying Tigers, and it shows for the first time actually the contributions of the common people of China to building the Burma Road and enabling the Flying Tigers to do what they did in World War II. Because unfortunately to the still at present even prevailing Cold War hysteria, it has been forgotten that China was actually an allied nation in World War II. And it was their contributions which finally defeated the Japanese aggression. So that's one film. The other one is called In the Footsteps of Genghis Khan, and we are trying to retrace whatever Mongol culture is still left and available in Mongol.
Ah, I see. Yeah. I see. All right.
And taking that occasion to go back to Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire and Kublai Khan,
I see.
Yuan Dynasty, etc., etc. The third one is something about the puppet state Manchukuo, which was established in 1931 by the Japanese in...
The puppet state, you mean, right?
Puppet state. It was a puppet state under... And the sovereign was Puyi, the last emperor of the Qing dynasty.
Sure.
The puppet state almost existed for 15 years, was not recognized by the United Nations, and the Japanese exploited the area, and then in 1937 the Marco Polo Bridge, actually World War II started, contrary to what historians today say that World War II started in 1939 when Hitler attacked Poland. Not true. World War II, as far as I'm concerned, started in 1937 when Japan, after the Marco Polo incident in Beijing, officially declared war on China and tried to occupy China.
That's July the 7th.
Yeah.
July the 7th. Okay. I have a question. First to bring the background to my audience, as I first came to know Mr. Chris Nebe 2 years ago about his new film called Tibet the Truth.
Yes.
Right. And I was there. Prior to that, I was on several times on the show talking about his masterpieces with Mr. Chris Nebe. And I noticed at that moment already that he has spent quite time digging into the Chinese history, if not Chinese history, Southeast Asia history, Central Asia history. So what has caused you such an interest to go unfundedly so deep in depth to find the history part, that page of history in your life?
The forces of history, I keep saying, determine the future. And unfortunately, because of Cold War hysteria, which to a certain part, as far as America is concerned, still exists,
Sure.
After World War II, the history of and China's involvement in World War II and also the evolution of China from the from the Republic of China to the People's Republic of China has been completely forgotten and has not been acknowledged in the West. And if it is acknowledged, it's skewed, it's biased, it's not fair, and it's not true. And it is necessary that the West realizes that these contributions of China and also the historic evolvement of China in order to understand why China now is what it is and why the 21st century is the century of Asia under the leadership of China and not under the leadership of Japan, which sort of America would like
I would say under the leadership of the common sense, of the common wish.
Right. Also.
China might play an important role in the trend. I believe the trend is there. Like it or not, the trend is there because there are no more people who adore peace rather than wars, right? Rather than those who adore wars. My question is that, or it is not even a question, just a concern, is that during the World War II, China and the United States were allies to each other, right? Like you said in your film, which made a big contribution to the significance of bringing the awareness about that fact in history, that China and the United States are, or at the time, allies to each other. Without a U.S. support, the Japanese war cannot be ended that fast. Without the Chinese spending lots of effort, tons of efforts, huge amount of efforts in making the conditions for the Flying Tigers to get involved, and that couldn't even happen either, right? So the fact is that with that as taken a fact, right? So how come 3 years later, what was the push to push everybody into the Cold War? Did you see that part, or did you see that part in your film?
No, but that was because, you see, China had a natural alliance with Russia, and the Cold War started with Russia and extended basically to everybody who was communist. And it fit world politics to have these two blocks, and China was on the other side of it, until, even though it was actually, the Cold War was much more concentrated on Russia. But even though in China disassociated itself from Russia very soon also, it still was involved because it was a communist regime, and general perception was that communist is bad and communist is dangerous, and we have to have the Cold War.
Well, now you look at the facts, look at what the human race has gone through the past 50 or 60 years, though, you realize that communism is only a slogan.
That's
right?
correct.
It's not a system that anywhere of anyhow never existed.
But
So
it's
only
being
a slogan.
exploited. But it's being exploited, especially in America, in order to confuse the people and create an imaginary enemy.
And also, capitalism is not a evil.
But I think American capitalism has to change, because you see, as you know, we are all evolving, and as communism has evolved and has changed, I think American capitalism, as we know, has also to change, because you see, in America, the word socialism or socialist is a dirty word. If you call yourself a socialist, and I, as a German citizen, I call myself a socialist because we are all socialists in Europe. We are socialists with German characteristics, French characteristics, Italian characteristics, and the Chinese now have socialism with Chinese characteristics.
If you look at the United States now, it is at this very moment of being socialized.
Yes.
Right? We have the healthcare, for example, and back to
which is a half-hearted attempt.
Back to the Roosevelt time, though, we started the social welfare system, right? And then we have the common or kind of universal healthcare system.
Right.
We're socializing ourselves as into part of a socialism, or forget about a definition. Why people are so fond of a definition?
Right.
Right. So forget about definition. They are only slogans.
Yes.
People are people. So let people take care of their own stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
How they want it, let them do it. Right. Okay. Very good. And I'm especially interested in that. As a matter of fact, I'm very appreciative for somebody who wasn't born in China, wasn't raised in China, wasn't educated by either China or United States, right? Gets so much interest into founding the real part of history, such as in history, he finds out the true story of Tibet, the true story of Diaoyu Island, and the true story, this time we're talking about, of the steps of the Genghis Khan, right? So let's talk them one by one. Let's take a short break, please. All right, good.